I'm your host, Kyle, of course. This is the show that's going to guide you to overcoming challenges and finding balance in business, fitness, mindset, and a personal growth. Today's title is one of my favorite subjects. It's the truth about marketing, sales, and what actually drives growth. Our guest, Sachin over here, founder of INSY, at goNC.com, a company that helps local businesses grow through smart, proven marketing systems. And we'll break down the basics of marketing, the real difference between customers and sales, why lifetime value matters, and the myths around social media and influencers. And I would love to dive in. And what I like to do first, just like on these episodes, is just talk about your background and kind of what led you up to that. And primarily because there are always stepping stones to get to where you are. You're here and you want to get here. There's some context that gets you to that point, right? So now you're crushing, you're helping out local businesses, but like, you know, where do you start?
Yeah,
Like think entrepreneurship, think the business, like what were the skill sets that you led up to that point, and then we'll get to
sure.
some personal stuff after that.
Okay, sounds good, Carl. So yeah, I can give a little bit of a brief intro. I'm Sachin and currently founder and owner of INSY. Uh, I started INSY about 3 years ago. Um, well, it was previously under a different brand name, but I recently relaunched the business earlier this year under the brand name of INSY. But this business started about 3 years ago, or maybe potentially four now. It was around 2020 when it really kick-started. Lockdown had just kind of hit, and I saw a bit of a gap in the market, not a gap in the market, but an opportunity in the market for providing local businesses with their own branded mobile apps to engage with customers. And that's how it started. But from there, I sort of niched, if you like, narrowed down the kind of vertical, and I focused on hospitality businesses, and we decided to work with local restaurants and provide them with a solution to engage with their customers online directly through their own branded channels. So we gave them their own online ordering system with a branded web app, etc., and then we helped them with their marketing, and that's how this sort of business started. But how I got here and a bit of a short kind of career history, if you like. I'll try and keep it
Yeah.
short.
What I really find interesting is like you started Go NC, is it Go NC or is it NC?
It's Incy, just that the domain name is goincy.com. I
Okay.
couldn't get incy.com, so I went with
I
it.
hear that. I hear that. No
Yeah,
worries. It's
yeah,
kind of cool too. Like just for a second, you said 4 years ago.
yes.
Yeah. So basically during COVID, so I just see like restaurants just losing their crap. Like, how am I God? How am I gonna get customers? And then you come in and swoop and save the day.
Yeah, so for me, COVID was a blessing in some
Yeah.
ways. Selfishly speaking, obviously, it was not a nice period for anybody for globally, but from a business perspective, it was certainly a bit of a blessing, and suddenly there was a demand for our type of solution or product, and at this time, restaurants were certainly struggling. How do they carry on with day-to-day business? Obviously, they're not able to serve customers in restaurant, and the government was saying to these sort of businesses that you should consider uh, having sort of online ordering kind of options and solutions for your customers, and as it's more safer during that sort of period of COVID. Uh, and probably similar to the US, we have these sort of third-party marketplace platforms
Yes.
that are
We have
very, very popular.
Uber Eats. Do you all have,
Yeah,
or what's that over there?
yeah, that's right. We have Uber Eats over here, and then we have Deliveroo, and there's another company called Just Eat.
Okay.
So
It's always cool to find out like what different companies are out there because like
yeah,
I remember being like in Europe once and you see different airlines you've never seen before. You're like, oh, all right. Like I think of this orange one. It was like um. Anyways, it's not important. There, I just remember seeing. Remember seeing, and it's a good time.
Yeah,
Still had to
yeah,
get like an extra phone too. And I'm like, I've never. We have like Sprint, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, and then there's like different ones that I've seen over there. I'm like, okay, this is interesting.
yeah. Oh, dude, it
But
says the
we're
recording has
good.
stopped.
Let's see here. We're still live and we're good. Um,
Uh,
let's see
I
here.
have something on my end telling me to refresh.
Yeah, just go and refresh. We're good. Technology is great when it happens, and it's a good time because it'll refresh. It'll hop back in, guys. You can see like these past couple episodes.
Um,
There we
yeah, I
go.
think it chucked me out, but I'm
You
back
know what's
in now.
funny, man? I had two people on this podcast in the past. Sean, the owner of Go High Level, was on the last episode. Before this, there was another guy named Randy, and both people were like, we hit some internet connection issues. So I'm glad it was not me this time, and it was you. So, but yeah, no, we're all good. Just as
Cool.
far as like going into just different brands like in the US, it's always fun to kind of see again what's out there and what you never hear of. Like it's funny that like I find out like I'm in this coaching program right now, and they said everyone typically uses WhatsApp, and it's like if you're not using WhatsApp, you're probably an American. And I'm like, yeah, a lot of us don't use WhatsApp, but yeah, we have WhatsApp. It's
Yeah,
a huge thing.
yeah. I mean, I've come to sort of learn that I think in the US, SMS is still more popular than WhatsApp as a communication channel. Whereas, yeah, in the UK and other parts of Europe, yeah, WhatsApp is massive.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, we're actually doing a lot with WhatsApp right now with one of our products and particularly with our restaurant customers. And I'm sure I'll mention it during this
Oh, I
podcast at some
guarantee
point.
it. I guarantee it. I totally took us off to a U-turn for a second. So I mean, veered
Yeah.
off. Let's go U-turn a little bit to like, okay, that's 4 years. I don't think you're 4 years old in the business world, or until all this.
No,
What happened prior
yeah.
to this? What was your first business? Was
So
it?
my first business, going back probably about 12, 12 years ago, approximately. That's when I started out in the world of business and self-employment. It was a catering business, actually.
Oh, right on.
Um, yeah. At the time, I had zero idea about business. I never really actually had any interest in business previously either.
Huh.
Um, my interest, sort of career-wise, was the humanitarian world, NGO sector, and there was a period of my life where I was actually in the US for about 6 7 months, and I
Okay.
was a part of this sort of program, volunteer sort of program, and the organization that I was with, they had these training schools in the US, and then they ran these sort of humanitarian sort of projects in Africa and India. So it was a 2 year sort of program overall. And this is going back now about say 20 years. But so I joined this program. It brought me to the US, spent about 7 8 months there, and then I went and did some of the project work in India and Africa. And when I completed that program and I came back to the UK, I was trying to figure out, right, what am I going to do now with my life, with career,
Right. Right.
etc.
Traveling
And I
all
realized,
that'd be fun. That'd be some
y-
interesting
y-
experience you've seen.
yeah, oh, it was a fantastic experience. I learned so much, just so much about life in general, about myself. It was great, kind of like character building.
Go into it a
Um,
little bit. Yeah, like what does that mean for you? Like going into yourself and yeah, that seems
so
interesting.
the biggest kind of learning lesson at that time was, and that's when I probably learned, years later, I see the value of what I did in terms of the biggest lesson that I probably learned, or anybody can learn, is that coming out of your comfort zone. So when you do something that's out of your comfort zone, and take a risk or take a chance, that's where sort of that kind of growth happens, whether it's personal or business or whatever area of life it may
Yeah.
be.
So you
But
were
I
kind of
think,
nervous, kind of going into it, like going to different
yeah,
spots. Is that kind of what I'm understanding?
yeah. I mean, at the time when I embarked on that journey, that program, I say it's about 20 years ago, and I left the UK. I was going away for about 2 years, totally on my own. I came to the US probably second time in my life at the time. And I met with a whole bunch of people that I've never met in my life. And suddenly I was in this environment where I'm now living and working with a whole bunch of people that I've never met in my life.
Sounds like a game show, man.
Yeah, it was like it was actually amazing because there was people from all over the world as part of this program. So I met a lot of people from all parts of the globe, and to this day, some of those people that are still my very good friends, and we're still connected. So a lot of close bonds were made as well. But yeah, it was something that I'll always sort of treasure in terms of my kind of life experience from from a whole variety of perspectives. But the biggest thing that I think I learned during that period was, yeah, when you do something that's out of your comfort zone, you grow in so many different ways. Confidence mainly, I would say. So yeah, it's always good to try and practice being out of your comfort zone. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna have to refresh again.
We're good on my end so far.
Uh,
Getting into it in depth right there, guys.
Back. Yeah,
There we go. We're
yeah.
good.
I'm not sure what's going on if it's maybe on my end, but
Everything is good. Everything's good on
cool.
my end right now. But yeah, like
Yeah,
what I like kind of got from that for a second, it's like, when you're building up confidence and you're able to see like evidence from yourself right in front of you to be able to accomplish something and get through something. I could definitely see like how that could definitely help you out with like character and obviously making new relationships. And it's really cool you get to still speak to those same people. I went to England and Scotland for just soccer, or in this case football, right? But I was there just for a couple of weeks, and we got to play against the Tranmere Rovers, Blackburn.
yeah.
I went to Scotland, played against the Glasgow Rangers, and some of the people I traveled with, um, still in communication to this day. But it was like when I was like 16, 17 years old without my parents. So I just remember going there and just being super nervous, and then looking back at it, you never regret like those things.
No, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy. So that's like the connection I'm having there too, because like I had some confidence issues and things I needed to work through myself. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So it's always, I think in life, it's always periodically, it's always good if you can try and do something that gets you out your comfort zone. It's a good sort of probably practice to have or a habit.
Yeah, yeah. So when COVID was about to happen and all that stuff, you kind of had to kind of channel that a little bit. So what was your first business again?
So my first business, yeah, was a catering business, and I started that maybe so after I came back from this whole sort of 2 year experience of being part of this NGO, and probably about a year after that, I started the catering business. And the reason I started that, as I said, I had no real desire up until that point to be in business. But having been back about a year or so from that experience of being abroad and working for that NGO, I realized that a career in that field was not for me. It required a lot of sacrifice. So I thought, okay, what can I do? And I realized, living in the UK, a developed country, we like similar to the US, we have a lot of opportunities available to us. And so I thought to myself, well, why don't I try and do something for myself? And I thought about business, self-employment. I thought, okay, what should I do? And the only thing I could think about was something food related because I enjoyed cooking at the time. And when I was in the States, the environment that we were in, we were living in this sort of like I say, like a residential school. So there's about 30 people at any one time within this sort of facility.
Okay.
So we've got one building which is like dormitory style accommodation and private rooms, and there's another building with classrooms and a huge kitchen. So we
Okay.
all had to sort of cook for one another. But during that period, whenever I was in the kitchen, it seemed like everybody was enjoying the food that I was cooking. So it gave me confidence that I can cook, reasonably good standard of food for a large group of people. So
Especially a
that,
large group of people.
yeah, so that dawned upon me, and then I thought, oh well, I've had a bit of experience with this, and I was just doing it
Yeah.
informally.
Yeah.
So why don't I have a go at catering as a as a business or self-employment? And yeah, that's how it started. So then at that time I started to read books about business. I was going on courses, everything that I could really do to sort of understand, like, what do I need to start a business, and all the different legal structures and taxes, all of that. And it just stemmed from there. And I went out there and came up with a name and did my kind of like first bit of marketing and came up with some leaflet designs and etc. And
So if someone's starting a business right now, they're thinking about starting a business, what do you feel like what do you feel like they need to do first
um
to keep them to not hold them back? That's what I think about because you're talking about confidence.
yeah,
You're getting a lot of opportunity right in front of you to display that you can do what you say you can do with cooking,
yeah.
and starting your catering business. Um, and you went into understanding business. You know, what would be like the first two things you think you would have someone do if they were to start their own business?
From everything, probably what I've learned in these recent years is really just the action, taking action and getting started, and not getting too hung up in like having everything kind of perfect before you start. And I guess one thing I've learned over the years is actually learning to take imperfect action and not get caught up or hung up in your own kind of thoughts. Like I do see a lot when I'm speaking to other people where someone's thinking about starting a business, but well, I haven't got a name yet, or I haven't got a logo, or I haven't got a brand or whatever, and or they may be like they're thinking about their name of the business, and then they want to have the perfect kind of logo design, etc. For me, it's just like just think, if you've got an idea or a rough idea what you want to do, just go out there and try and get your first customer. That's how I would say. Just take action. Don't worry about what the name is, or what your color scheme is, or
I like
whatever,
that
or
'cause you
etc.
really don't have a business until you have customers.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what I feel
Yeah.
like people don't get a lot of
Yeah.
times. Like,
Yeah.
you know, having a brand, a logo, and is not a business. It can be a part of a business, but
Yeah.
really, if you have customers, you have a business.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. And
Yeah.
I like how you put that. That was good. That was good, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're reading about business, you're getting it started up, you're doing your first bit of marketing.
Yeah. Doing first bit of marketing, and then essentially just going out there and trying to get my first customer. And that's sort of the path that I took. And um, at the time as well, I was speaking to a family member who uh, was very experienced in business, and I shared some concerns. I'm thinking of starting this catering thing. I've got a rough idea now what I want to do, but I don't know anything about business, and I had my own kind of fears, if you like.
Sure.
And I guess this person was my sort of first mentor, if you like, informally. And he shared something with me that I've always remembered, and he said to me, "Look, don't worry about anything. Just get started, and don't worry about the fact that you don't know anything about business, because once you start, business will teach you business." Um,
Business will teach you business. And I love what you said
yeah,
earlier too, man. You were like, I'm learning how to take imperfect actions. And I had this mentor, his name's Dr. Jeff Spencer. I highly recommend you Google him. He's a former
yeah,
Olympian, gold medalist in cycling, and has helped a lot of these famous people that we probably know. And he talks about focusing on the one or two things that matter. It's not about perfection because you
that's
have
right. Yeah,
your
yeah,
human mindset, and then you have your champion's mind. So I feel like you're breaking out of like you personally. I feel like you are breaking out of your human mindset and getting into your champion's mind. Is how he would look at it. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, like you said, you had your own fears or beliefs that you were trying to work through, and that's immediately what I thought. And I meant to say that earlier, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So just getting started, businesses will teach you business. Like what else?
Yeah,
A business will teach you business. Get started.
yeah, and those words stuck with me, and then from that point onwards, I just thought, yeah, okay, I just got to go for this now. So I just, I pretty much just cracked on. I came up with a name, and I just did a bunch of leaflets. I wasn't giving any thought to, the design or anything like that, and I just wanted to go out there and see if I could actually sell my services, if you like. So I, 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 I'm trying to remember who my first customer was with the catering business, and I can't actually even remember now, to be
How
honest.
did you go about getting your first customer? Was it through pamphlets and you were just going in there and talking to people?
Yeah, so I had my plan was at the time that I wanted to start this catering business, but it would be aimed at sort of other businesses, so like corporate catering, other businesses who like have like training events or stuff like that. So I probably I think maybe I guess I can't quite remember who my first customer was, but
It's okay.
I probably imagine it was a business, and it may have been probably through some sort of personal connection or a contact. Then I probably just said, "Hey, I'm starting this business off. I'm going to provide catering for corporate events and private companies, etc. Would you like to give me a go, give it a try?" I probably did some sort of like free taster or something like that, and just to get people interested, see what the feedback's like, and I think that's how it started. And then I discovered networking actually. So once I sort of started, and I probably may have done a couple of orders, and then I was kind of set on this mindset that I knew who I wanted my customers to be. I wanted my customers to be other businesses, and then somebody else introduced me to this thing called networking. And I do this because at the time I had no idea what networking was.
Yeah.
So I go along to my first networking event, and I thought, oh my god, this is amazing. There's a whole bunch of people in this room, and you can talk to all these people about what you're up to, and
Businesses, you're like,
yeah,
yeah, like,
yeah,
but
yeah. One
yeah,
moment, Carl. I'm gonna have to refresh again.
refreshing to keep it fresh.
Yeah, there we go. I'm back. Yeah, so yeah, then I discovered networking, and I just thought I was so excited by it. Like like, imagine a child going into a sweet shop or a candy
Yeah,
shop, as
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
guys would say. And to me, my first sort of networking event was exactly like that. I was so excited by it. But now, anyway, years on, I don't have the same level of excitement or enthusiasm for networking events, and now I'm probably more selective in terms of what I
Being more
attend.
intentional. Yeah, like if this
Yeah, yeah,
this type of business are gonna be there, like here's what I'm gonna
yeah,
do. Not, oh, what
yeah.
do you do? Hey, what do you do? And
Oh, while we're on that, and if anybody's whoever's watching this and listening, here's a kind of a tip, if you like, from a marketing perspective. If you go to one thing that's a bit of a bugbear for me now is when I go to a network, as soon as you walk in, someone comes up to you, you introduce her, and straight away people are like, "So, what do you do?" It's the first question, just straight away, "What do you do?" And it actually winds me up now because I feel like that's not the purpose of networking. You don't really understand networking if you're within 10 seconds you're asking somebody what they do, then you don't understand what networking is about, because networking is not about trying to figure out what someone does in 10 seconds. It's actually just having a conversation like me and you are right now, building a connection, building a rapport. So if you meet somebody for the first time, you say hi, how are you? How's your day been, or something? Talk about the weather or whatever for 5 minutes, and then kind of like get into, oh, okay, so tell me what you do
you know what?
for
I
business or
was
whatever.
talking to my assistant today, and we are talking about like just outreach messages. I was like, when you ask someone to buy something or book something, it's like the equivalent of like going to a bar and you meet this girl, and you're like, hey, you know, will you be my girlfriend? Like that's almost what it feels like. I mean, that's kind of like me buying a drink for her and then asking. It's like, well, here, like let's feel it out first before we get.
Yeah,
That's what I thought of immediately when you were like talking about networking and this and that. I just literally had that conversation today. So how
yeah.
long did you do that? Was that your first business and then you started?
That was, yeah. So I did that for about 2 years, I think, two years or maybe
Yeah,
three. Then the plan was to sort of try and move into some sort of food service retail. And I had this sort of idea for a cafe style business that had the potential of probably becoming a chain style business. And I spent a lot of time doing the market research, putting a business plan together, all of that. Um, but it didn't quite take off. And this was now around 2008, 2009. So we were in that credit crunch period. I have to refresh again. Sorry, Carl, one moment.
it's all good on my end, just so you're aware.
Uh, okay. Something's come up. You aren't being recorded. Let's troubleshoot. I'm not sure if it is still recording, and I can't seem to get rid of this window.
We're all good on
Yeah.
my end, just so you're aware.
Okay. Moment. So what I've done is I've minimized the window so we're just in the right hand corner, because if I leave it
That's
fully
okay.
open, it's just got this tab on there saying that troubleshoot. So I don't know if on my end it thinks that it's not being recorded, but if you say that it is, then we'll carry on.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're
Yeah,
still live. Everything's good.
cool.
So,
That's fine.
going into at least a chain, was there any other businesses between that, or did you take a break?
Yeah, so that at that time, say it was credit crunch. I couldn't quite get the funding to sort of start that business off. So I decided to put that whole plan on, sort of it went on the back burner. I still have the business plan and everything for that business, but I never did. It never sort of took off. And then anyway, a few months later, I was in a greeting card store. And again, long story short, I started a greeting card business off, but it was a bit of a niche concept uh, because I identified a gap in the market for greeting cards for those who are of kind of South Asian or South Asian ethnic origin. So in the UK, we have quite like a large population of people who have Indian heritage or Pakistani heritage.
Oh, sure.
So, and if you spoke one of those languages like Hindi, Gujarati, Punjabi, there weren't really any kind of cards in the mainstream market that kind of catered for those sort of cultures or communities. So I sort of spotted this gap in the market, and then I thought, oh, why aren't any cards that kind of like cater for people of South Indian or South Asian heritage. Um, the idea was dawning up on me, and I kept thinking about it, and I did some basic market research to see if there's anything else out there. Came across one other company had started something similar, but not quite what the idea that I had in mind. So then I started to sort of do my homework, if you like, and the idea kept playing away at me, thinking, we there's an opportunity here, and so yeah, I decided to go for it. So at this point, again, I don't know anything about greeting cards, don't know anything about design, nothing about graphic design or printing or anything like that, but it was all an opportunity to learn, and yeah, so and that's how we started. So ultimately, I started that business. We came out with our kind of first range of greeting cards. We went to sort of market. There was an event that was happening. It was a good opportunity just to be at that event. It was like a consumer lifestyle event. So we got a little stall there, set up an exhibition space, and we had our kind of initial product range. And it was just to see what kind of feedback we would get. Turns out everybody loved the concept and the idea, and we also met a couple of retailers who were there, like independent retail owners, and they said, you know what, we could stock this in our shop. So we're like, okay, great. Well, we'll come and see you, and that's how it started. So then we ultimately, yeah, we ran that business, or I ran that business for about 7 years, and at its peak, we had about 200 retail stockists stocking the products, and then we also had an e-commerce store. So we were selling the greeting
So
cards
all
online,
online and in person.
online, and then
Man,
we added other products to it. But that's where the interest for digital marketing started to sort
started. Yeah,
of,
I was gonna say like
yeah.
around 2000, because like you said, back in 2008 was when it started, give or
It
take.
was 2008, 2009 that I started that greeting card business. That ran for about 7 years. And then, so it was around 2015, 2016, I started to sort of, yeah, that interest started to peak in digital marketing, software
So well,
technology.
I'll say this though, like I can see like the pieces kind of coming together. Confidence and just doing it, not worried about the perfection, just doing it. And you kind of applied that again when you started that business. Like you didn't have a problem, like because I guarantee you had maybe some samples of some sort. You probably didn't go out and like create like a whole bunch of cards and then go out and try and sell it. I think what it looked like was you're able to put some eyes in front of it to see if they like it before you want to waste your time
Yeah,
all over again. Because I could totally see you like creating that other business plan that you didn't get funding for, that you didn't even have an opportunity to like really see, like if it was going to be a good idea or not yet. And it sounds like it may happen later down the road. If you still have the plans, you never know what happens. But
yeah.
it stuck out to me as like the confidence process of you being able to stop and try again is important. At the same time, you were able to put it in people's faces, and some people bit, and you were along for the ride until digital marketing started happening.
Yeah, yeah. You summed it up quite well, actually. But and that's what it's about sometimes. So it's before you really get your teeth into something, you want to have a bit of an idea that is there a market for this? Are our customers, or whoever your target audience is,
Mm-hmm.
are they going to buy into this? So, and yeah, that's exactly what I did with that greeting card business. Started off, created a small range, and then just went to a consumer event, just to really get feedback to see what the response is like.
Yes.
And yeah, and for us, it proved to be fruitful. There was a very positive response. Consumers loved the concept, and then from that point onwards, we thought, right, okay, we think now there is a demand for this type of product. We're confident that if we develop this and create a full range of greeting cards and other products, and if we can get it into retail shops where we know that there's the right demographic for, then we're pretty confident that it'll work, and it did. And yeah, I say, yeah, we eventually ended up building that business and scaling it, and so we at our peak we had about 200 shops all across the UK stocking the products, and then we added to it the e-commerce store,
The
and
e-commerce
then
store,
we
they just like buy this specific type of greeting card in batches, and you just send it over to them, or how did that work?
yeah, exactly that. So that literally you could go online onto the e-commerce store. A consumer could just literally buy one single card and then have it sent to wherever they wanted to have it sent. And then afterwards, later on, we then further developed our e-commerce store to add personalization to it as well. So then it was, you could come online, uh, we'd have the design, but then customers could personalize the inside messages, and then we started working with like a digital printer, who could do on-demand printing. So then, literally we could just send them an artwork file that somebody's personalized online. They could literally print that one card, and then the consumer could, send that to the recipient
through your system, or would they send it
through
to
our, through our system, through the e-commerce store, yeah.
you? That's awesome. Because I just think
Yeah.
about, like I think about just getting into like the right rooms, and like sometimes they'll send like a funky gift in the mail to make them open it to get a meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a little marketing play. I forgot who I was talking to. I think it was actually on this podcast. I forgot who it was specifically, but that's what comes to mind. But cool. So talk to me about now. How are you helping these local businesses and hospitality businesses out with their marketing? What's like kind of putting all your stuff together, going into this digital landscape from where you started to where you came. How are you helping them grow?
So currently, I would say it's the last few months, if you like, since we've relaunched the business under INSY. We've now sort of pivoted to be a provider of marketing systems. So our focus is to, particularly with hospitality businesses, or not just hospitality, but hospitality and other like local niche businesses. So like maybe whether it's sort of hair and beauty or health and wellness. So our mission, if you like, is really to help these businesses to attract, convert, and retain more customers through proven marketing systems to help them increase sales, boost profits, but without hefty upfront costs or long-term commitments.
So like, I guess so when you're helping them out, like, are you like when you talk about helping out like the specific restaurant? I think what I am after is more maybe strategy, almost too, like because I mean there's some basics of marketing, right? And
Yeah,
differences like you were talking about, we talked about earlier, like there's difference between just customers and sales,
yeah.
LTV, things like this.
So you'll be surprised. In my experience, a lot of small businesses don't really actually understand these concepts of like LTV, or even just simply understanding the difference between what's a customer and what's a sale. And so yeah, for me, in terms of what we do, there's a massive education aspect to it as well. And you're right, strategy is a key part of that, because if we onboard a customer to one of our products, we have those conversations with business owners and say, okay, look, it's great to have you on board, and but what what is it that you're trying to achieve? What's your goal? What's your objective? Do you currently have a strategy in place to help you achieve that? No? Okay, let's work that out then, and let's put in a system in place that helps you achieve that.
So there's a big community or education gap you were saying, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
good at seeing gaps, man. Like I mean, think about like just like going in the back. You're like, I saw this, I went after this and that and this, and like there was a gap here. Talking about like the guard business, and I think like when you started this business, it was like
D-
another one of those is what I'll call it.
I'll share something with you, Carl. I know we might be going slightly off tangent here,
You're
but
fine,
this
no,
is
you're fine.
um, interesting because we're talking about gaps, etc., and mindset. And a few weeks ago, I was so I play five-a-side football recreationally with a
Fun,
group of friends.
I love it.
And so it was a Monday evening, and I'm at five-a-side football, and with my group we're playing, and I was in goal at this point, but I
American
just
soccer, football,
soccer for the American listeners.
okay.
um, so I'm standing in goal, and there's a couple of young lads just at the back. They're just
Yeah,
spectating. They're watching. They're
yeah.
just hanging around, and they're probably about 17, 18 years old. Two of them having a conversation between themselves, and they're talking about going to university and making choices. And I'm in goal, but I could just hear everything that they're saying. So anyway, one of them says he's unsure about going to university, and he'd like to do something, maybe get into business, etc. But and then he says to his friend that, oh, but the problem is, like, what can I do? What can I do? There's no opportunities out there for like a business. There's no gap in the market. There's no gap in the market. He kept saying this right to his friend. So I overheard what he said, and then halfway through, I just kind of interrupted the conversation, and I said to him, because it dawned upon me everything that I've learned myself over the years, and I realized that his attitude is wrong, because he was looking for the gap in the market, and I said to him, listen, kid, I can't help but overhear your conversation. Don't worry about the gap in the market, because the gap in the market will find you, not the other way around. You don't need to go looking for the gap in the market, it will find you. And then his friend was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, listen to him.
He's a gypsy.
But
No, I'm kidding.
yeah,
I love it. I love it.
yeah,
No, that's hilarious. And I was just seeing you playing goalie, man. Like, what are you doing? You're not watching the game? Like, are you kidding?
I was supposed to keep it an eye on it as well, but I couldn't help what these two are talking about. But
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
love that though. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
but
So,
in the moment, I just thought, oh, I hopefully I've shared something, of use to that kid, so that it will help him
oh man, if it's
change his
hard,
perspective.
but yeah, it takes away a limiting belief for sure. And
Yeah, yeah.
like that's where just kind of going back to like you talking to your customers and the lack of education around the marketing. It's like that's like the basics in the beginning. It's like, okay, what does set you apart? That's what I'm and like and then you're able to see your own gaps along the way. Like what makes X different from Y a lot of times. Then you're able to like talk about different messaging and things of that nature. And so in the restaurant world, we talked about customers and sales. So like why should you focus on like customer lifetime value, but at the same time, how are you also conveying customers and sales to these people?
So I think the reason why any restaurant should focus on customer lifetime value is one, repeat business, and if particularly if you are investing in any kind of marketing, and 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 what any business should remember is that marketing is an investment. It's not an expense or a cost, because if you engage in any kind of marketing activity or system or tool, it should provide you some sort of return. So therefore, it's an investment. And in terms of customer lifetime value, the way you want to look at it is particularly if you're a restaurant. Now, if you're say for example, you go and print a whole bunch of leaflets for argument's sake, right? You've got some sort of offer on, and you go and distribute them in your local area, hoping that somebody's going to come into your business, spend whatever it is with you. But if someone has that leaflet, they come in, they've got the offer, they come in because of that offer, they have a lovely meal, they get whatever 50% off or whatever it is, uh, but then you never see them again. They never come back. If they never come back, then you've just spent all that money on those leaflets, etc., for just that one-time sale. Whereas if you had a system in place that incentivized that same customer to come back again and again, initially that offer could be the hook to bring them in. But and initially, if you're giving that, say, 50% off, yes, it's a cost to you. But if you look at it as associate that to as a marketing cost, but if that same customer then comes back at least once a month over a period of 12 months, and on average they spend, say, I don't know, $25 or whatever it is on every visit, that's where the customer lifetime value aspect comes in. So then you spending that marketing budget on printing those leaflets or whatever it was,
Yeah.
it has more value rather than just spending on that one-time transaction,
Oh
if you like.
yes, yes, and I could see totally like so like I come from the high ticket space, and I have a software company, and we're getting really granular with our unit economics.
Yeah,
And like you have your overall CAC, and you have like your ad CAC, and this is
yeah.
what we call it, right? And they'll probably have like their same thing. And so and then we talk about what is our target buyback ratio, where like, software companies will spend thousands of dollars to acquire a customer that gives a few $100 a month.
Yeah.
However, over time, that money comes back over time. So for people who are just like listening, like just to kind of simplify that too, even just that's the whole idea, right? You're going to spend XYZ on marketing, and you have to know your numbers. You have to know your unit economics, and you have to have key performance indicators to see, when you can dial up or dial down the marketing. Which
Yeah.
is why, again, you need to know your unit economics, and part of that is your customer lifetime value. So that way, if you're overspending or underspending on your marketing, and wonder why you're not growing. And so
Yeah.
I like
Absolutely.
that. I like that a lot, man. And like talk to me about something that you gave me on your submission was like the differences between customers and sales for restaurants.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Because I'm telling you, like, as you know, there's so many marketing companies saying I can get you all these customers and get you all these customers. That's
Well,
literally
nowadays it's not even the marketing companies. A lot of the sort of social media agencies or
yes.
so-called influencers and followers, they're inundating these local businesses with messaging on, through DMs, etc. Hey, we'll get you 100,000 followers, blah
Oh
blah.
yeah, I've got
So
a
yeah,
couple of those.
yeah,
Yeah.
and because I see this a lot because I'm quite often I'm connected on social media accounts of our customers.
Yeah.
Um, so I see all these messages coming through, and yeah, it makes me it makes me chuckle sometimes because we live in a world now where there seems to be so much sort of importance and place on social media, and I think people are becoming a little bit obsessed with this whole concept of having followers and likes and etc., which
Do you
is
listen to Drake? You know Drake?
the as in the artist, yeah.
Yeah. So he said something on an interview once. He's like, don't base your life on that internet program. There's so many things that you can just, you know, do in person. Like go get something to eat, get a real connection with people. Like don't base your whole life on that internet program because it's just only an illusion of how people's lives are at one moment.
Yeah,
And so anyways, like that was like a I just immediately thought about that, man. But also like I know like how local like influencers and vloggers, especially in the food industry, I could see
yeah,
how it could benefit their business because one, they're local and people around them are local. They could come to them at the same time. But you get those messages where like, hey, we'll boost your posts, and you can literally buy views. You can literally buy. I don't know if you can buy views, but I know
uh,
unless it's like a network of people where they're just like looking at your video multiple times until you get to a
yeah.
certain number. But I know I've bought in likes. I've definitely bought in followers before, and it just screwed me on the algorithm.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can buy likes and you can buy followers, um, which is which is why sometimes I think it's probably similar in the States, but in the UK here, it's like every time you open, say, Instagram or something, there's every other person is now a food vlogger or an influencer, right? And
Everyone's posting pictures of their food and their cat.
yeah, and you've got these so-called food vloggers and influencers that going around to local restaurants and saying, "Hey, look, I can come into your place and shoot some reels and produce some content. And yeah, look at my sort of following. I've got 50,000 followers. Blah blah blah. So yeah, we'll do some reels and we'll publish that. But yeah, we'll charge you $500 for that, right? So the restaurant sees that and says, "Okay, cool. Yeah, your content looks really good. Blah blah," and they're probably drawn in by the fact that this so-called influencer or food vlogger has 50,000 followers. So they think, oh, okay, I'm going to get eyes on my food. But how do they know that that follower hasn't paid for those? Sorry, that influencer hasn't paid for those followers. where are those followers located? They could be anywhere. If you're a local restaurant in, I want to think of I don't know, say in Queens, New York,
Okay, we'll
right?
go with it. Let's go.
You're a local restaurant in Queens, New York, and so, so your audience generally is going to be within, say, a 3-4 mile radius. But if I'm a foodie influencer and I come in and shoot a bunch of reels and I post that, but if I paid for those 50,000 followers, and if I've got followers in the Philippines,
Hey, they're gonna fly. They're gonna fly to your spot.
yeah, they're going to see that content. But yeah, what could, what, when is that person from the Philippines going to come over to book in your restaurant?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but you've just paid $500 or whatever it is for that privilege for someone in the Philippines to see your content and like it, because that's the way the algorithms work.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, like how would how does your business right now like help hedge against that right now? Like, do you all? Is it like
so
limited?
yeah, what we try and teach our customers is that whilst social media has a place,
Mhm.
it has a place. Don't get me wrong, but use it wisely. So, um, and the clues in the title. It's social. So, um, if you've got if you're a local business and you already have customers who know, like, and trust you, and if they are already following your page or they like your page, that means they already sort of trust you. They know who you are, but they follow you because they're probably genuinely interested in what you do. So use that as an opportunity to sort of share something of relevance and interest with your followers. You don't need to be worried about having tens of thousands of followers. However, on the flip side, what you should try and focus on is actually building your own list of customers with whom you can build that kind of emotional relationship with. And you want to have a system in place that helps you to communicate with that list. So, um, what you want to keep in mind is, or what I say, or when I've said it before on another talk, that the secret is in the list. Sorry, the secret is in the list, and the fortune is in the follow up. So I'll repeat that: the secret is in the list, and the fortune is in the follow up. So
I see that.
if you focus on building that list, your customer list, so instead of worrying about followers, you should really focus on customers and how big is that list of customers, because customers are the ones that are going to come into your business. They're the ones that are going to transact with you,
Yes.
and you want those customers to come back again and again and again. You want those repeat customers so you can build that customer lifetime value. Whereas your followers are not necessarily going to be customers. They could just be just
Yeah, I
that,
like having
followers.
a list too. Hey, if listen, the cool part about that is if the wife wants something nice, just send a message out
Yeah,
and work, and
yeah,
then you got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's I have a marketing mentor that said that once, and I had to use it there. So like how now obviously social media marketing, you're able to kind of build your lists is what I'm understanding. How are you all implementing like AI, right? Like AI is pretty huge nowadays, and like how is that coming into your hospitality and local restaurants?
Yeah, we've very recently we've launched an AI employee service.
Okay.
So imagine with restaurants, missed calls
Yes.
is a huge problem. Missed calls basically means missed revenue, lost opportunities, lost bookings. So in the recent months, we've been testing out or demoing our AI employee service, and how it works is that yes, and you can have, if you're a restaurant or a local business, you can have an AI virtual assistant answer your phone for you 24/7. It can handle all your sort of booking inquiries, frequently asked questions, general inquiries, and this can help a restaurant save tons of time. But not only that, it means that no call will ever go missed. So every call is literally answered, and that AI employee can work 24/7 if you want it to. So it's a real game changer, really, because it can help help a very very busy venue save a lot of staff time, and can ensure that every call is answered, so you're converting more bookings or more online
Yeah, because
orders.
usually there's a person that's handling at the like standing at the host stand taking calls, or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this to get a reservation or a spot.
yeah.
What a day we live in. Is that so like a lot of ways to is it like the main focus on your AI employees for these companies?
So it's not the main focus at the moment, but it's one of the sort of services that's available as part of one of our products. INSY One is our all-in-one system for sales, marketing, and customer communications. And the AI employee services is one component, if you like. It's part of
Sure,
that
sure.
system.
Feel free to
Um,
share that right now, man. Like I mean, like you have different. I see different boxes, but each box is connected,
yeah, yeah.
and so it's like what like someone signs up with you right now. They get onboarded. What are you doing from A to Z if they were to buy like your top package with everything?
So again, it depends on where they're at in the business and what their core kind of requirement is.
Of course, of course.
So uh, just to give you an example,
This would be great.
yeah. I mean, I would say our kind of legacy product in these last 3 years has been our online ordering system, and that's how we got started. But now, on top of the online ordering system, we've got INSY One, which is the all-in-one that I mentioned. And earlier this year, we also launched INSY Loyalty One, which is a digital loyalty system. So all three products are standalone products, but we can integrate all three and create one whole kind of ecosystem for a
That's what
hospitality.
I love talking about like like for me I love marketing ecosystems to where you like that's great.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
I'll kind of give you like a little example or a case study, if you like,
Of
from one of
course.
our existing restaurant customers. Maybe this hopefully will be useful to any other restaurateurs that are listening or other
That's
local
exactly what I'm getting
businesses.
at. Like there's
Um,
yes.
so one of our restaurant customers, when we started off with them using our online ordering system, uh, and they've been on that system for the past 3 years. So they're very, very, very busy venue. They're also with these third-party marketplace platforms like your Just Eat, Uber Eats, etc. But they also have their own ordering system and branded channels via us. And so over the last 3 years, we've actually helped them to convert most of their online ordering business to their own direct channel. So now they've got a database of customers. I think it's nearly about 15 to 20,000 strong. That's their own
Not
customers,
surprised.
right?
Yeah.
Who are now ordering direct with them. Um, and on top of that, now we've onboarded this restaurant customer to INSY One, which is the all-in-one, the sales, marketing, and customer communications. Now, what we're doing with INSY One is obviously I mentioned the AI employee service, but that's something that's quite new that's just come out a few months ago. But prior to that, we have another service as part of that system called Missed Call WhatsApp Back. And for this particular restaurant, it's proven to be very, very valuable because this particular restaurant receives about 2,000 calls a month, um, and they miss at least 30% of those calls,
Holy crap.
right?
Holy crap. Like and
So,
that's I don't even know what the average order is, but I will
so I can
ask.
tell you from the online ordering side of things, I can tell you what their average order value is. So their average order value is about £27, so say about $30, right? That's
That math real quick. Yeah,
just for like
it's
that's just
crazy.
takeaway and delivery, right? But
Yeah.
if you imagine in restaurant bookings, You know, probably in restaurant, the average spend is say 25 to 30 pounds per head. And if you imagine every table book, on average, a table booking is say for table of four. Um, so you can quickly see if you're missing 30% of calls, so that it's about
Yeah,
five to
like
600 calls a month,
it's
right?
multiple salaries that you could
Yeah,
pay or something.
yeah.
No,
Five and 5 to 600 calls a month is quite a lot of calls to miss. So that's a lot of potential lost bookings. Or sorry, Kyle, just one moment. This thing has popped up again.
oh, no worries, man. Take your time.
Uh,
It happens,
yeah,
It's
yeah,
all good.
yeah. So with this particular restaurant, so we identify that problem and that they're missing a lot of calls. And with NC1 and through the missed call WhatsApp back service, what we're able to do now is automatically re-engage those missed calls and turn them into actual online orders or bookings.
Easy, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so what happens is that somebody calls a restaurant, they don't answer, the system automatically sends the caller a message on WhatsApp, says, hey, sorry, we couldn't get to the phone right now. Where you're looking to place an order for food or book a table, they reply back with a certain kind of buzzword, which we look out for. We then straight away immediately send them another message, which includes a link for them to go online to either book a table or order online.
easy, yeah.
This this simple service, like I say, it's easy, it's simple. And for this particular restaurant, just to give you an example, last month they converted 20% of those missed calls into online orders
That's
and
10%.
table bookings.
That's crazy. I
So
mean, the
in
last, I mean, you definitely made an impact, I would say.
yeah, in terms of revenues, we're talking about nearly 5K
Easy.
of
And
revenue
yep,
recouped.
you definitely did your stuff. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
definitely paying for itself right there. So far you're getting people to automatically order on a platform now, and then people who didn't get answered are getting answering or getting
yeah.
answered now. Now, the last piece, I'm sure you're about to go into it. What is driving all this traffic to these platforms
For as in
for
for
you?
us or for the
For both. I mean, I'm sure they probably pop up on like a Google or something like this. A lot of times, people get generally good foot traffic if they're in a good location, but when you're driving growth, right, money loves attention, but also money likes speed. So you got the speed down, you know. Now we're getting more into the attention is what I feel is about to happen.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, from as a business, as INSEE, as a provider of marketing systems, what we're trying to do for our customers to help them to is to attract, convert, and retain customers. This is basically the fundamentals of marketing, right?
Yes,
Attract, convert, and retain customers. And that's why when we were going back earlier, we were trying to make that distinction between sales versus customers. Sale is just a one-time transaction. A customer is a name, is a number, is an email address. It's a person that exists in your list, somebody that you can have an ongoing relationship with, an interaction with, that they're continually spending in your business. And that's why we focus on when you look at that kind of that say buyer journey, if you like. Ultimately, it's attract, convert, retain. But then there are some sort of we can say sort of key kind of success principles in terms of how do we attract, how do we convert, how do we retain, and that's where we as a business focus on, and that's what we're trying to educate our customers. Okay, like we can help you attract, we can help you convert, we can help you retain, but in order to do that, you need a system in place, you need a strategy, and you need these sort of like key kind of frameworks or principles in place that will help you to achieve that. So, and again,
and I feel like
just
I bet you a lot of like restaurants like understand the concept from a high level view, but like when they're actually doing it, it's like there's definitely some gaps, and that's where you kind of come in.
yeah, and
Because I like what
again,
you said, retain. Like I'm in this whole software thing right now, and
yeah,
like the biggest problem a lot of these type of companies have been activation. If you get these
Yeah,
people activated or just onboard activated, they're in the trainings. They tip. If you can get them to activate, they will stay for 6 months, a year, if not longer. And so it's really cool to hear that you've been helping a couple people for the past few years on that, and simultaneously helping them do the same with their own customers. So
that's right. Yeah, and in terms of helping them do that with their own customers, so as part of the system that we provide them, we're trying to give them like a done for you service.
mm,
And what we want to do is sort of take care of all the heavy lifting, so they don't have to worry about all of that. So if they sign up with our online
especially
ordering
restaurant
system,
owners,
sorry, say that again.
especially restaurant owners.
Yeah, like with restaurant customers, if they sign up with to INSY Order One, we give them a fully branded website. We give them the online ordering system. That website is optimized. It's got the SEO in the right places where it needs to be. We take care of the Google Business Profile. We make sure that's all optimized. So we take care of all of those steps that's going to help attract customers.
Let me share my.
When once we attract, yeah,
I'm just gonna share my screen while you're talking about this. So
yeah,
this, yeah. So like you're helping out all of people in the hospitality space with local
yes.
businesses, and I like that track, convert, and retain, like he was talking about. So it's just at goinzy.com. And I thought that was a really really cool thing, and also a connection I didn't really get to make for our listeners. It's like you're able to you start your first business was doing the actual hospitality business of catering. Ironically,
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
remember like every other month I used to have to go to San Diego for an event, San Diego, California, just helping people start their online businesses and whatnot. Dude, when we had those chefs come in and they had all this food laid out for us, and in the fashion that they did it, it was definitely like it it elevated the experience is what I want to say. And at the same time, like with what you're doing, you get it because you've been in the field. At the same time, you're helping these people and being able to see the gaps and not letting kind of things keep you from starting. Obviously, like the truth about driving growth is what we came down to is not being afraid to start, focus on the one or two things that matter, never the perfection, and simultaneously you know testing out the marketplace, getting feedback, and then being able to get more attention to get traffic in order to get sales, and everything else will kind of business will teach you business is what I said. So I wanted to just take a second and just wrap up here, and if there's anything that you would like to convey to the audience before we hop off.
um, there's nothing in particular. There's not one particular thing that stands out in mind at the
One of
moment that I would
those.
want to convey, but I hope that anything that I've shared during this conversation, I hope that something resonates, and if I've been able to have some sort of impact or influence, then that's great, and I'll take that as a positive.
No, it was great. I love like that funny little connection you had when you were playing soccer or football in this case. Like that random part. Yeah, the market, you don't find the gap finds you. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
as long as you put yourself out there, things will kind of come together. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
thank you so
think
much.
if anyone's looking to sort of start off their own business, and if don't be worried about not having an idea. It's not always about having an idea, but just look out for the opportunities. And sometimes those opportunities will find you before you find the opportunity, and that's what it's about.
Love it. Love it, guys. Cool. Let me go ahead and thank you so much again for hopping on. I
No,
appreciate
thank you, Kyle. I
you guys
appreciate
on
that
the
you
podcast.
having. It's been a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, we hope to have you back in the future, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
1 second.